Rising from the dead to feed on the flesh of the living, their hunger knows no bounds. We're talking about the undead zombies. We're talking about eating flesh, brains, and we're also talking the best zombie movies ever. Let's go. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning into another episode here at Figure Out Films. I'm your host, as always, Chris, and happy spooky season. This is that spooky time of the year, my favorite month. I've been so busy watching movies and playing with figures of horror things and everything creepy and crawly, and I am now here today to finally talk some horror movies. If you are new to this channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We are so close to the goal of 1K subscribers here. We're trying to get to 1K before the year ends. If we could do it in October, that would be crazy. The spookiest time of the year, there'd be nothing more scary than me actually getting a lot more support on this channel. That would be insane. If you are returning, thank you again so much for the support. As always, I always love seeing all these familiar faces in the comment sections, and I thought I'd treat you all today by talking about one of my all-time favorite subgenres of horror, which is zombie movies. And if you're anything like me, zombie movies have kind of been played to death in some way, so you try not to talk about them too much, but I feel like enough time has passed from the Walking Dead and the zombie craze from the early 2010s, which is funny because I feel like zombies goes hand in hand in the 2010s with this weird millennial thing where everything was bacon and everything was mustaches, and that was just a weird millennial thing. But now I feel like there's enough time has changed. Walking Dead's finally over. I think I'm still not sure, but you know what? I want to just talk about zombie movies. My first video for October, I want to talk about one of my favorite subgenres. So, like I said, today we're going to talk about the best zombie movies, and in my opinion, the movies I like from this subgenre are the best. So stick around. Let me know down in the comments below, what are your favorite zombie movies? Let's get this list going. Let's eat some brains. So before starting this list, there's so many different zombie movies, and honestly, I'm open to so many different interpretations. They can walk, they can run, they can do whatever, but they have to be dead in some ways, and they have to come out of the ground at some point. But before we even go, I want to talk about my honorable mentions. These are the movies that did not make the list, and it hurt me and pained me not to be able to put it in my list in the top 10 best zombie movies. So I'm going to go with some honorable mentions right here. I'm going to go with Overlord. Overlord, this is a movie that does not get enough love. It does not get talked about enough. From 2018, it has to do with World War II in Nazi experiments and the Allied forces trying to stop the Nazis at the end of World War II. And it has Wyatt Russell in it as well, which is always a good thing. But I do love Overlord. I saw this movie in theaters, and I feel like nobody has ever talked about it except me and my circle of friends. This is such a good time. I highly recommend you check this movie out. It even got a 4K for crying out loud. I'm pretty sure you can pick this up pretty cheap. So I recommend you check out Overlord. Next is another iconic horror movie that's from the zombie subgenre. That is Shaun of the Dead. I loved Shaun of the Dead. I thought it was one of my favorite zombie movies ever when I first watched it. And the more I watch it, it's still great. It's such a good time. But I've watched so many other zombie movies now where it has to go higher and higher up the list. Nothing to knock it and saying it's not great or anything. It just doesn't have that lasting impact that some of these other ones that are going to be in the top 10 for me. Still a great time. Edgar Wright's one of my favorite directors. And yeah, just watch Shaun of the Dead and just have a pint with your good friends. And this is a good time. Another one. This is a sleeper hit on a rewatch. I thought this movie was so cool, and then I thought it was lame, and now I've come back and thought, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. That is Dead Snow. I picked this up for 50 cents at a yard sale a couple years ago, so I checked this movie back out. When I heard this movie existed, and it was, I watched it on a Watch Mojo top 10, if you remember those, and I said I had to check this movie out. It's the OG Nazi zombies. But Dead Snow, so actually the zombies are underground in the snow, buried, and then they come and attack these, I think they're hikers, and attack them, and you just get carnage, you get blood and guts. It's just a good time, and I don't know, and then I kind of thought it was lame. Now I think it's kind of cool still, so, never too late to turn around. And then finally, I rewatched this movie. It's still a good time. That is 28 Days Later. I really like this movie a lot. I think it's aged poorly, however. It still, I think, from a narrative standpoint, holds the test of time. But the filmmaking style just hurts it so much. It's Danny Boyle, a young Cillian Murphy. You get Brendan Gleeson in this movie as well. This is such a very pulse-pounding movie. I just could not put it in the top 10, though. It just misses the mark. What are your thoughts on this? And yes, this is the OOP movie now, so you can't really watch it streaming, so you have to find the DVD or the Blu-ray like I have failed to have, and I just have the DVD. But I will say, from a quality standpoint, there's not much of a difference between the Blu-ray and the DVD because of the way it was shot, so let that be known. Coming in at number 10 is a movie I actually do not own because I don't want to just buy the DVD, and it's hard to find the Blu-ray, but this is a movie that I watched in my formative time, and I just really grew to kind of build the lore in my head, so it's going to remain at top 10 for right now. But that is the Zombie Diaries from 2006, and I'm going to actually cheat and throw in its sequel, The Zombie Diaries 2: The World Ends. These are British, similar to 28 Days Later, British zombie apocalypse movies, specifically The Zombie Diaries, which came out in 2006. That one is a found footage zombie outbreak movie, and it's such a good time. There's 3 different stories, so it's technically an anthology of some kind, but the movies interweave with each other. Basically, it's from the beginning story falls from the outbreak of these people who are very dismissive of the outbreak happening, and the news is playing it off like it's some sort of sickness and illness, similar to something like from 2019. And it turns out to be a zombie apocalypse. In the second one, we find tourists who are just out and about trying to find food, which is very pulse pounding. And then the third is a group of reckless people who are taking advantage of the outbreak, mingling with people from later on in the movie. Again, this is a found footage movie. I think it ages actually better. I think it tries to copycat 28 Days Later, to be honest, and I think it just ages a little bit better. The intensity is there because of the filmmaking style. Vice versa, in 2011, because it did so well and had a cult following, they made a sequel in 2011, which came to huge critical success. These were through the Dimensions Extreme line. Follows a similar approach. It's still in England, but we're following soldiers who are trying to navigate the unraveling from the first movie. These movies are really good. I really recommend you do watch them. I don't see too many people talking about these, but for me, you know, in my early days going to Family Video, finding something called Zombie Diaries, and these posters were just so cool, I couldn't help but watch them, and ended up really liking them, and lo and behold, they're really good. So go figure. I highly recommend at number 10 to check out The Zombie Diaries. At number 9 is a movie from 1994, and it's a recent watch, and it's definitely made the impact on me. I aspire to be him, and I am, of course, talking about Delamorte Delamore, also known as The Cemetery Man, from 1994, coming in at number 9. This is a movie I do not own because it's kind of expensive. It's through the Severin line. But Cemetery Man, which I always will prefer to call it Delamorte Delamore, follows Rupert Everett as he is the cemetery night watcher. He's I think it's in France or Italy. I can't remember which European city he's living in. But basically him and his friend are living in this small little cottage, and their job is to make sure that the dead stay dead. And because every night when they bury someone, they will rise from the grave. And the problem with Delamorte Delamore is that he falls in love with a woman who actually gets killed by the zombies and becomes a zombie herself, and he is plagued with the loss of his love and trying to find ways to numb it. It is a truly strange movie. It's very pulpy, it's very different, it's very out there, but it's also artistic and freaking awesome. I highly recommend The Cemetery Man for anyone who likes a late midnight movie or a movie with friends that just has a lot of grotesque violence and great, gore effects, great makeup, and just a really cool, truly cool protagonist. It feels like Spike Spiegel is the Cemetery Man in this movie in some way. That same kind of cut from the same cloth type of cool male protagonist. A truly bizarre ending. I can't stop talking about Cemetery Man. It's truly unique. It's truly different, but it is a zombie movie nonetheless, and it's making the list for me at number 9. And number 8 is a recent movie, which I think nobody's going to argue with me that this is a truly great zombie movie. This came out in 2016. I have not seen the sequel, but this original one is amazing. I'm talking about The Train to Busan. Train to Busan is a South Korean zombie movie, which I feel like the South Korean market for horror movies and zombie movies has kind of had an explosion in the late 2010s and early 2020s, along with their Korean K-pop dramas. But Train to Busan is a truly great, well-made horror movie with great horror effects, great human horror and drama, and a lot of social commentary. This feels like the Shin Godzilla of zombie movies came from an Asian country. Train to Busan is such a great movie. It is not an easy watch because it is so emotionally draining, and it's pretty violent as well, where these people are stuck on a train and there is a zombie outbreak happening, and they're in the train themselves. They don't know how to deal with them, and they have to work together as strangers and trust each other to try and survive. And then when they get to the actual train station, there's even more hellish, nightmarish things to survive, and all at the once the protagonist has to deal with the fact that his daughter is with him as well, and or this little girl. I can't remember if it's his daughter or not. But it not only do you deal with the zombie horror, but in much of the case of a lot of zombie movies, you deal with the human horror element of what as well. So I highly recommend you watch Train to Busan. Coming in at number 7 is again another movie I don't own, but that could change because there is an Arrow horror sale going on right now. This movie came out in 2007. I saw it when I was younger, and I even watched the American counterpart and actually enjoyed it as well. And then I recently watched it last year at the Music Box in Chicago's 24-hour marathon. That, of course, is the Spanish film Wreck. Wreck came out in 2006 and then 2007. It's a found footage movie. If you're starting to notice the trend of some of my favorite preferred zombie movies, I love the found footage genre. But this is a movie that it truly encapsulates how crazy and how much shit can hit the fan so quickly. This is a Spanish movie about a reporter coming into a hotel that's been evacuated due to an unknown viral outbreak. And when they break in, they find out that the Center for Disease and Control is there. They find out the military's there, and that everyone who's still stuck in the apartment complex cannot get out. And then they start to find out what this disease is. It's actually a zombie outbreak, and it's documented. It's just you again, it goes with the element of like you not knowing if you can trust humans, but also you have to deal with the government trying to suppress this news and shut the media up, and also dealing with zombies and mutations as well. This is such a great movie. This is a truly horror movie. This is a scary zombie movie with great. Even if you knew what was happening in this movie, you will be jump scared still. There's some really great scenes in this movie where the suspense builds to almost nothing, and then sometimes you don't expect the suspense to happen. It will make you upset, it will make you angry, and it'll make you want to put the covers up just a little bit above your eyes as well, because this is a scary good time. This is a great movie. You can get it actually right now through Arrow Video. There's a whole Wreck, I think, trilogy. I think there's 4 movies. I've only seen Wreck 1 and 2. The American counterpart, Quarantine. I've seen Quarantine 1 and 2 as well. I like Quarantine, but I think Wreck is so much better. And Wreck 2 adds to the lore of the first movie as well. So I have to put it at number 7 for me. Let me know what you think about Wreck. Is it really as scary as I'm describing it? Because I truly am a defender that this is a truly scary horror movie. Coming in at number 6, it started so... I love this movie so much, but it's, again, the more zombie movies I watch, the more I have to kick it higher up on my list. But at number 6 is Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I know what you're thinking. Whoa. Zack Snyder. Yes, I am a Snyder guy, but I truly love this Dawn of the Dead movie. I watched it actually before the original, and I still prefer this one. Yes, I have the Second Sight Dawn of the Dead 4K, but I still love this Scream Factory release of Dawn of the Dead. I love this movie. I love the cast. I think it really builds upon the foundation of the original Dawn of the Dead. I think the message is a little bit clearer in this movie, and it's also, because it's Zack Snyder, it's more stylized. It goes kind of bonkers in some ways with some of the choices made about the undead. I think the violence is great in this movie. The zombies are truly scary in this as well. I think Zack Snyder did a great job with the makeup crew to make the zombies really pop in this. I love the beginning. It just sets the tone right away. I don't feel like my heart really gets a break in the first half of this movie. It does kind of die down just a little bit in the second half, and that third act is so strong. I love the ending to this movie too, and I love how the people who are in so all these people go to the mall to escape the zombie outbreak, and then they realize they don't get along with each other and section themselves off in the mall, and then some decide to work together to try and coexist, because the mall has everything until it doesn't, and it's no longer safe, and shit hits the fan and they gotta escape. You get Sarah Polley, Ving Rhames in this movie. You get so many people from the early 2000s you notice, and you get the dad from Modern Family as well. This is a good movie. I honestly call back to scenes from this movie than the original just a little bit more. No offense to it. I know I'm gonna upset some people, but what are your thoughts? Are you a Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead fan? Or are you a Romero Dawn of the Dead fan? Let me know down in the comments below. Coming in at the number 5 position, this is such a great zombie movie. This is so untraditional of the zombie subgenre. Every time I watch this movie, I just fall in love with it more and more. It's a Hammer horror movie, The Plague of the Zombies. If you are no stranger to this channel, you know my love for this movie. This movie came out in 1966. the story of this movie is people keep dying in this small little village and they can't find the bodies. We come to find out it's because there's zombies rising from the dead. When a medical officer comes and tries to figure out what's been going on to these bodies, he comes to find that the local aristocrat here may be dabbling in some black magic, some otherworldly spells to conjure up the undead to do his bidding, and also has a merry band of very toxic frat guys doing his work for him in this movie. I really enjoy this movie. I love the vibe that this movie brings. Like I said, this is 1966, and this came out as a double feature with Prince of Darkness with Christopher Lee, which again is an amazing double feature. But what I love about this movie is the design of the zombies. I think the zombies look so damn freaky in this movie. The third act is so insane, and just the way it ends is it feels like an adrenaline shot rush. The way that it just ends almost, it feels very called back to the Universal Monsters where the movie will just end. It kind of feels like that in this way. But again, it's just the zombies that take the show. They steal the show. I mean, there's a segment where it's a dream sequence where the zombies come and rise, and it's just such a great makeup, practical effect scene. It's just great. And I love the characters. I love hanging out with them. I love being in this small little Cornwall village of sorts. This is a good time. Check out The Plague of the Zombies. Coming in number 4. I have Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead. This is truly one of the masterpieces of gore. Granddaddy Lucio Fulci blessed us with the City of the Living Dead. He did this with House by the Cemetery and, of course, The Beyond. I love going back to City of the Living Dead, not only because it's a gory, graphic movie, but because the score is so damn good. This is one of the best Living Dead scores ever. I play this all the time on my Spotify playlist for my horror playlist. This is such a good score right here. Just iconic. The third act being underground, it's seeing the living dead just crawling is truly nightmarish. It's hellish, much like the representation of this movie. You get some insane scenes with a drill, a priest, people vomiting their blood and guts because of the demonic spirit of the living dead. It's just a great time. I have not yet dived into this 4K. I'm so excited to, but I've seen the Blu-ray plenty of times. And I can say this is truly one of the best Living Dead movies. Fulci also did Zombie, also Zombie 2, however you want to call it. That is also a great time. I need to rewatch it, and I want to watch on that Blue Underground 4K to see where it truly will land in my ranking, so I couldn't put it in here. So I have to go with what I know best, which is City of the Living Dead. This is a great time. If you can get your hands on this, which there is an Arrow sale. I am not sponsored yet by Arrow, but if you have some money for Shocktober, skip the Scream Factory sale and go to Arrow and pick this up from the 4K standard 4K edition. This is the limited edition set from one of our subscribers, which I truly appreciate. And this will be going to good use. But let me know what are your thoughts on the City of the Living Dead and Lucio Fulci. I feel like blood and guts and gore go with zombies, and this goes with Fulci, and it's a match made in heaven, baby. So check out City of the Living Dead. Coming in number 3, this is again a nostalgic pick, and I will be unapologetic about my love for this franchise, specifically the second movie and third movie of this franchise, Resident Evil. Resident Evil, this is a movie franchise by Paul W.S. Anderson of Event Horizon fame, and also Mortal Kombat. However, in the early 2000s, he reimagined the iconic Capcom video game franchise Resident Evil and did Resident Evil 1, and then ended up producing and writing most, and then eventually directing the rest of the 6 Resident Evil movies. You get Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction, Afterlife, Retribution, and then the final chapter. For me, though, however, at the number 3, I'm going to put Resident Evil 2, with 3 being a close one, with 2 being very much like the Resident Evil 2 game, where Raccoon City is being plagued by a zombie horde from the underground from the previous movie, and you get some truly confusing, grotesque CGI monsters. You get zombies looking so good. You get zombie strippers in this movie. You also get a nuclear bomb scene. There's so much going on. I think Mila Jovovich is at her best in this movie, playing the character of Alice, who's been experimented on and getting some new abilities. She has like so many gymnastic abilities. There's a scene in this movie when her and the other character Jill Valentine are traversing through the city to escape, and they go through a graveyard, which is a really good scene where the zombies actually come from underground and around and start attacking them. Resident Evil Apocalypse is just a great time. You truly feel the scale of this movie and the city being overrun by zombies. Resident Evil 3 Extinction also goes well with the world of being conquered by the zombies and the undead, and them being very much like a decaying corpse. But for me, it's always going to be Resident Evil 2 Apocalypse. That's one of my favorite zombie movies, and it's at my number 3 spot. What are your thoughts on the Resident Evil franchise? I grew up watching this, and I will defend them. I'm just a big fan of these, baby. Coming in at number 2 is, I would say, most people's favorite zombie movie. It's definitely one of the most iconic. For me, it's Dan O'Bannon's Return of the Living Dead. I have it here with the Blu-ray and the 4K case. Tarman, Brains, Linnea Quigley dancing shirtless on tombstones, Clu Gallagher, a bunch of punks trying to survive a night of the living dead, trying to eat their flesh and eat their brains, the iconic scene here. Return of the Living Dead is truly one of the quintessential 80s horror movies, let alone one of the best zombie movies ever. So a secret military base spills like some toxic waste that begins to affect the local people, and then turning into zombies basically. And the whole time there's a group of teens partying in a graveyard, because that's what cool people do. They get attacked by the undead, and they have to try and survive it because the zombies again inhale this galaxy gas, which is zombie gas that reanimates their body because it's an experiment. And you just follow the entire adventure of them trying to survive insane zombie hordes, punk rock zombies, a tar man who's after their brains. These zombies talk, which is awesome. You don't see that very much in the zombie franchise. Or the zombie subgenre, which I think is so cool, and it fits for this kind of vibe of a movie. It's a fun time. It's very aware of what it is. It's got some comedy. It's got some graphic horror. It's got violence. It's got some heart to it as well. I love these characters. They're just a fun time. They're just a merry band of misfits. And that's sometimes all you need is your character. It's a great ensemble cast. This is a great movie. I highly recommend you watch. This is just a good time. If you're going to watch a zombie movie this October and you haven't seen Return of the Living Dead, put that on top of your priority, because this is a good time. And finally, coming at number 1 is, to me, this is my favorite zombie movie. This captures everything that I love about zombie movies, and I think it's one of the best zombie movies ever made, period, from one of the best to ever do it. That is George A. Romero's Day of the Dead. 1985, Day of the Dead. What can I say about this movie? Other than, first off, it needs a better transfer. This Scream Factory is a great time. However, I need this on 4K. I need this on a steelbook. I need a box set. I need the pins. I need the double-side poster. I need all that. I need new special features, all that. That aside, this is an amazing, amazing movie, let alone an amazing zombie movie. So George A. Romero's 3rd movie in the original trilogy, with Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and then Day of the Dead. What I love about this movie is that I think it truly encapsulates everything he's been trying to do with the original trilogy, and like the critiques he's making about society and politicalness. All I think comes to fruition with this movie, and also just like the filmmaking technical aspects. So in this movie, our survivors are left to escape underground into a secret military base, while the living dead take control and roam above ground. However, they find their way underground to this military base where there's experiments going on, where the military is trying to find a way to cure the zombie virus so they can live amongst the dead. But the problem is that it's not even the zombies. Of our 3 protagonists, which I will say is one of my favorite ensemble trio of characters in a movie, let alone in a zombie movie. I just love the characters to death. They work so well together. But they have to deal with some of the most vile, heinous, annoying, but yet entertaining as hell misfit of military soldiers. So these military soldiers are very, very loosely tied together. It's tiptoeing on like almost like they're going to be the more of a monster than the zombies at this point in the story. And the way that the military handles life and the dead and violence and who works in the military and what is allowed to happen as well. I get it. It's apocalyptic and all that. But there's some truly nerve-wracking moments in this movie with the military soldiers in this, and later you come to realize that they need to escape the underground. It's no longer safe, and you get some amazing music in this movie. You get some cool scores in this, and you get some awesome violence because you get Tom Savini here, who's taken the mantle of the violence and the special effects and the gore. It is prevalent in this movie. It is so great. It's got a great story. I think this is such a great political commentary film, let alone a great zombie movie with the airtight script, with great characters, truly evil villains, and the impending danger of the living dead. This is like a perfect zombie movie. I can't wait to rewatch this movie again this year and just basically cry because of how good this is. It's my favorite of the original trilogy, and then you get Land of the Dead and all those. And I think this is truly the peak of George A. Romero and what he's trying to do with the original trilogy. What are your thoughts on Day of the Dead? Because to me, it's the best zombie movie in the franchise, and it's number one in the subgenre. It's the best zombie movie, the subgenre, and to me, it's also number one on this list. So let me know your comments down below. And that'll do it. That is my best zombie movies list. What did you think? What did I miss? What are some things I got right? I'd love to see people's list down in the comments below. What are you watching in October? We got more videos to come. Sorry about the delays. There's more to come, like I said. But yeah, thank you for tuning into another episode here at Figure Out Films. My name is Chris, and remember, if you're not watching zombie movies in the holy month of October, do you really care about cinema? Other than that, I'll see you next time.